Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Caldwell Banker Wealth Builder series presented by GRA. That's right. We are excited to formally welcome our good friends and partners at Guaranteed Rate Affinity Mortgage. We're also excited to be streaming Wealth Builder Today live on Teams and Facebook Live. To learn more, check out wealthbuilderexpo.com. However you found us, we're just glad you're here today. As my Wealth Builder junkies know, now we've spent the last three sessions with a remarkable Chris Hogan from the Ramsey organization. The focus was on our personal finances and debt management. Today, we're switching gears in a big way. Let me share with you what we have in store. First, we'll spend a few minutes outlining the Wealth Builder Expo commitment and vision. Then, on to today's main stage topic, residential real estate investment. The good, the bad, and yes, the ugly. Next, I'll be introducing our expert panelists on the subject of real estate investment. Get ready for some great information. After that, our experts will take as many of your questions as time allows. And we'll wrap up today's program by outlining your personal action plan to success, all in less than an hour. If we haven't met yet, I'm Chris Mygatt, and today I come to you from Denver, Colorado. I am honored to host our monthly Wealth Builder series. If you're in search of a better way to grow and protect your personal wealth, rest assured, you've come to the right place. Isn't it interesting? While many real estate companies across the country focus solely on helping agents just get that next deal done, at Coldwell Banker, we are committed to going far beyond that. In fact, I believe that by working together, we can support each other in building real wealth, something you can enjoy and leverage for years to come, something we call living an exceptional life. As you may know, we deliver on that promise of helping you live an exceptional life by staying laser focused on our core four: production power, coaching to confidence, an amazing culture of awesomeness, and, well, why we're all here today, Wealth Builder. Now, just a warning and a reminder, if you think building wealth is a spectator sport, well, you might be in for a bit of a surprise. To get the most out of today's session and the entire series, you got to plan to roll up your sleeves, engage in the content, and yes, do the work. Now listen, building wealth isn't hard, but it is serious business. And to be successful, it requires focus, commitment, and self-discipline. You know, one of the things I like most about the Wealth Builder series is that we've created a safe place to explore our personal finances and goals, a place to have an open and honest discussion. Isn't it interesting how most Americans buy things they don't need with money they don't have to impress people they don't even like? It's nuts. Wealth Builder is here to break that vicious cycle. As you explore building wealth, I encourage you to stay out of judgment and in curiosity. Imagine what if. How bad do you want it? We must take action now. And effectively, action rarely happens in a vacuum. And that's why I encourage you to take the time to invite your support team, people like your spouse, your partner, advisors to each one of our sessions. You'll be more successful if you align your vision with the people that matter the most to you. Now, speaking of taking action, if you haven't done it yet, please take the time right now to open a SEP IRA retirement account. Friends, time does matter on this. Remember, we make it easy for you to save for your future with automatic closing deductions. Want to find out more about what a SEP account is, or how to open one, or even how to increase the amount you're setting aside? There's a link you can click right now in the Q&A chat that will direct you to a site to schedule a personal call with a specialist. Please don't delay, do it right now. Now, getting the answers to your questions is the heart of why we are here together. Don't miss this important opportunity. It's so easy. As you look at your screen, you should see a Q&A button in the upper right-hand corner. It's easy. During our session, just type your questions, and our producer, Amy Crawford, will tee all of those up during our Q&A session. Okay, let's get on with the show. Let's go to today's main event, the secrets to buying your first or next income property. Real estate investment. Oh, it's a big, big topic. We could spend hours and hours, even days, to fully understand and deploy a solid real estate investment strategy. Today is simply designed to offer you an opportunity to discover what is possible. Rest assured, we'll be offering you a path for additional learning on this massive topic. I'll give you details on that additional learning opportunity right at the end of our program. Of course, there's no additional cost for the follow-up program. It's just to help us get where we all need to go. Just an investment in your time and your action. In the meantime, just do me a favor, focus on the overall content of today's program. Don't get distracted by writing down notes on slides. You'll have access to the complete presentation deck at wealthbuilderexpo.com, as well as a complete recording of today's program. Now for the disclaimer. I am not an attorney. I am not an accountant. I'm not even a therapist. I am simply a broker. And residential investment real estate has been an important part of my personal wealth building and retirement strategy. There may be times that it seems like I'm giving you advice, but I'm not. And that also goes for our panelists as well. Let's be clear. Today's program is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not a zero-down scheme, and it's not a late-night TV infomercial. Here's what I know. Real estate investment is the very best get-rich-quick slow scheme of the modern world. Get rich slow. That's what we're talking about today. But we need to overcome the myth. The myth that every first-time real estate investor will make millions of dollars in their spare time living that imaginary dream. In fact, when you look under the hood, it's not always a pretty sight. You see, 95% of first-time investors fail. You're here today so that you're not in that 95%. We want you to be in the 5% that finds success, strategic success. You see, few people can afford to try real estate investment after they failed. We all know people that have failed in real estate investment. So it's important to know what causes investors to fail. If we know, we can prevent history from repeating itself. Let's walk through a few of the do not do's, what to watch out for. First of all, when we see people that have failed in real estate, it's oftentimes a lack of just core subject knowledge. They just don't know the information they need to know. They get discouraged and then they quit. They also sadly set unrealistic expectations of time, of money, and also of effort. Many of them are undercapitalized. You know, it takes money to make money. The question is how much so we can prepare effectively. In many cases, people fail to anticipate market fluctuations. Markets do go up, they do go down. And then there is that situation of immediate gratification, right? They want it now. Patience must be learned in investing. And then the last big item is just simply lack of business organization. They can't find the right deal. They can't evaluate deals. They don't know how to manage their timeline, and they don't know how to sell or rent for a profit. You know, the choices that you make today and into the future really do matter. I'm just going to tell you right now, stay away from gimmicks. People and classes costing thousands of dollars. More times than not, it's just total crap. Well, can I say that? I hope I can. Listen, you don't need that stuff to be successful. You need people that care, people you can rely upon to get the good information. Think about it. We've got the best head start in this business, right? This is our wheelhouse. We have success and access to things like data, like the MLS and tax records. We have access to quality lenders like Guaranteed Rate. We know neighborhoods and we know markets. Use these advantages to build your wealth. And if you're joining us today and you're not an agent, you have access to the very best agents. Use that resource. If you don't know someone, call me. I'll set you up with one of the very best, but don't miss that opportunity. Now let's look at what it takes to be successful in the real estate business of investment. What the traits are to enhance real estate investing. And there are 7 I just want to outline right now. First of all, knowledge. There is no substitute for knowledge. Patience. The ability to set realistic expectations pays massive dividends. Vision. Having a vision about what real estate is and what the properties can do in the future. And efficiency. This is a skill practiced by the best business people around, and real estate investment is no exception. Focus. Stay in your lane. The best investors are highly focused, know what they want, and do not let anything prevent them from getting there. Obstacles are simply not a problem for those that are focused. Relationship building. If you want to know what the best business people focus on, it's relationship building, and real estate investment is no exception. And leverage, the last trait. And this trait, I think, will permeate. I'm going to give you more examples of this in a second, but leverage is probably one of the most powerful tools in real estate. So what does make real estate such a powerful investment tool? I want to walk you through a couple of things that I think really make a big difference. First of all, real estate has the ability of spreading risk, especially in the funding area. So think about this for a minute. There are three ways that you fund a real estate transaction. There are three ways that you can reach retirement through real estate. The first is you, and that's your down payment. That down payment may be 20%, maybe 25%, but that's a portion of the cost of real estate. The second way to fund a real estate transaction is with your bank. You see, the mortgage in many cases covers nearly 80% of the entire purchase price of your first real estate investment transaction. And then third, and my most favorite, is your tenant. Think about this. Tenants will be the people that are paying off your mortgage, paying for your repairs, not just for the next year or two or three, but for the next 5, 10, 15, 30 years. It's your tenant that pays off your mortgage. It's a very powerful tool. But it leads me to one word that I think is the most important word in real estate, aside from location. And that important word is leverage. You see, in real estate, we have the ability to be able to leverage our investment. Let me give you an example. I'm going to create just a scenario. Well, I'm going to walk you through this. Take a look at the spreadsheet that you see on the screen. Imagine, if you will, that Bev and Ryan, two fictitious people, each buy a rental property for $200,000. Ryan decides to buy his property completely with cash. Bev, on the other hand, decides to buy her property with a down payment of 20% or $40,000. Bev and Ryan both bought houses in an exceptional area where house values increased 10% or $20,000 over the next 2 years. So now, both Bev and Ryan have homes worth $220,000 each. So Ryan earns a 10% return on his investment over the 2-year period. On the other hand, because Bev only invested $40,000, she actually earns a 50% return on her investment in those same 2 years. Bev invested less money and still received the same gain as Ryan did. That's an example of leverage. But, folks, the knife cuts both ways, right? There's a larger risk of investing with leverage. I'm going to walk you through that example. If we take the same situation, but instead of a 10% gain in the market, let's assume there's a 20% decline in the market. Rarely happens, but it has happened in the history. Ryan would have lost 20%, $40,000, of his initial $200,000 investment if he were to sell during that downturn. Bev, because she only invested $40,000, would have lost her entire investment if she were to have sold the property. That is the risk of leverage. Now let me take you to a different example. Let's assume for a minute, and let's look at like, where does the rubber hit the road on this idea of leverage and real estate versus other alternatives? And I think this might also answer the question of why, when surveyed, more than 50% of all multi-millionaires in America attribute their real estate investments as a significant source of their total wealth. Let's start by going back 10 years, a case study, if you will. So if you had $100,000 to invest, now it's not important the amount. This is just an example, right? But let's say you had $100,000. Maybe it's your savings account, maybe it's a retirement account. You can either invest in the real estate market or you can invest in the stock market. Those two different basic examples. And the stock market would be much easier, right? The real estate investment, more work, more demanding. You need to decide if it's worth the effort for you or not. Okay, it's 2010 and you put $100,000 in the market, the stock market. After 10 years, given a 5% annual return, your $100,000 will have earned you $64,000, bringing your equity up to $164,000. Seems pretty good, right? Like I'm in so far, that makes sense. Now, imagine that you invest the same $100,000 into real estate, a real estate investment. You use that $100,000 as a down payment and as reserves. Assume a property that appreciates at the same 5% rate as the market. Now, by utilizing leverage, your $100,000 investment turns into a $494,000 equity position. Oh, but it gets even better than that. The residual income on that stock market investment 5% return on that investment, will continue to spit out a $700 monthly return. Whereas the residual income on the real estate investment, after you pay the property taxes and the actual expenses and you pay off the mortgage, yields you a $2,500 per month return. What would you rather retire on? That's the question. But you might ask, like, hey, wait a minute, how do you determine or calculate your returns accurately? Let me share with you what I use. It's just a system that I use that's been very successful. It's a spreadsheet from a group called Healthy, Wealthy, Wise Project. I think it's like $35 or $45. Money well spent. You can learn more about that system at the link, I think in the chat, or just go to your favorite place, wealthbuilderexpo.com, to get the actual information on that. But let me walk you through the spreadsheet and why I think it's so powerful. Because I'm not really smart with math. I need to make sure I'm super clear about all the elements of what it means to buy and own and invest in real estate. So the first page of the spreadsheet, and by the way, there are just like tons of different options for you online. Just search residential real estate spreadsheets, and you'll see all kinds of them. This one, I like it because it's so simple. I just put in the first page the actual property information. Then in the second page, I put in the loan information and the property tax information. Then on the third page, I put in the rental income, the current rents that the property is spinning off. And then I also put in there what I think those rents might appreciate. Then the next page gives me the area to put in all the expenses. So everything from utilities and things, maintenance, repairs, HOAs, if you have those, all go in that page. And then voila, like magic, I get a first year investment analysis summary, something I can bring to my bank, to my partners. I can really analyze what that property is going to do for me. See, I need real tangible information to make big, important decisions like this. But it even gets better, right? Because then I can run a 10-year return. I can see over a 10-year period, I put in what I think the property will appreciate at. I put in what I think the rents will appreciate, what all my costs will appreciate at, and it gives me an actual rundown. An amazing tool available to you right now. So think about that, right? The choice is yours. At the end of a 10-year period, $164,000 or $493,000. And then a reoccurring income stream of $700 or $2,500. Next slide. Is it worth the extra work? That's the question. It's a really decision that only you can make, right? You've got to decide what's right for you at this time. All right, let's go through a couple of quick tips that I think you will find very beneficial when it comes to looking at residential real estate investment. First of all, tips for success. Yes, the rule still holds true. Location, location, location. Make sure you're buying properties in an area that you believe in. The second tip, make a decision, get in a lane. Are you going to be looking at single family homes or multifamily, condos or townhomes? I've just found that if you can specialize in one of those areas, you'll end up with much better returns. Number 3, always obtain a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. And I love Guaranteed Rate for this. They do a super good job. But then, after I get that 30-year mortgage, I always re-amortize it, use my calculator, or have a friend, or call the mortgage company, they'll tell you how to do this, and pay off my mortgage as if it's a 15-year mortgage, or better yet, a 10-year mortgage. Because remember, your goal is to end up with real estate that you have no debt on. The reason you do a 30-year is so that if the market gets tough and you end up with a vacancy for a month or two, you could default back to that lower 30-year amortization payment and not quite create so much stress in your life. Always, always, always put at least 20% down. Buy with the idea, my suggestion, buy with the idea of never selling. I'm not a fix and flipper, so I buy and I hold. I want to pay it off and I want to have an income stream forever. That's what I'm looking for. Now, listen, fix and flip is great. Different topic. We'll talk about that on October the 15th. But right now, this is a buy and hold and enjoy the residual income. Be proactive on your repairs and maintenance. Don't get behind that. Stay ahead of. This is your asset. Treat it like it's an asset. And number 7, never, ever, ever, ever let a tenant fix anything on your property in exchange for rent. It's important to make sure your properties are maintained professionally. And then lastly, I would just say this, don't pay huge sums of money for advice, for basic information, the things that we're talking about now and the things that we're going to talk about in just a minute. So the question is getting ready. Like, what are the next steps, right? This is how I would set you up for success moving forward. First of all, if you're a first-time investor, I invite you to join us on September the 21st September the 24th for a class called The Fundamentals of Real Estate Investing. Now, this is a great program. It's a step-by-step program. We're going to go over a number of different things. We're going to take the time to dig into identifying your financial stage. Are you at a place that it's realistic to start investing in real estate? We're going to help you choose a specific real estate investing strategy. We're also going to showcase how to pick a target market. We're going to dive into deciding your investment property criteria. We're going to talk about building your team, and your team is really important. Having a great lender, or maybe you need a partner in the business. Making sure you have the right people to maintain your properties. Your team is everything in real estate investment. We're also going to talk about how to line up financing. What kinds of things are available to you? Is it a hard money situation? Is it like a GRA, longer term situation, or maybe a partner? We're going to talk about raising cash for that down payment and what kind of reserves you need to have. We're going to talk about creating a plan to find the best deals. And then we're going to create a schedule to make sure you have the time and you can prioritize your next steps. You see, real estate investment is a big deal. It does take planning. We want to make sure you have the time for that. Again, that's going to be held on the 24th of September. It's going to be at 3 o'clock Eastern time. We have a very limited availability. We've got 500. It's open to the first 500 people. There is no cost, not at all. We're doing this together, right? We're working together to live a more exceptional life. But it's important that you link in, hop on wealthbuilderexpo.com, sign up for that class. We hold you a spot. It's going to be a Zoom program. We look really forward to seeing you there. So step number 2, my recommendation moving forward. Find a local expert, a partner, or a coach. Take them to lunch. Build a relationship with them. They can become the most meaningful part of your success in this business. And then number 3, use data. You've got great data available to you. Create a comprehensive plan with realistic timelines. And again, we'll walk through much of that with our time together on the 24th. And then lastly, identify your capital source ahead of time. You need hard money. Do you need a partner? How are you going to make this thing happen? But I'm going to tell you right now, your biggest enemy is time. Don't let time go by. Now is the time to move into action. Speaking of time, this is the perfect time to meet our panelists. And I am so thrilled and honored to be able to present to you an incredible. These 2 people are nothing but top notch. Our first panelist today is Mygatt Tate. Now, Mygatt is a 4th-generation real estate professional. She was a Rookie of the Year in 2016 for the entire Greater Albuquerque Association of Realtors. She consistently ranks in the top 25 of one of my favorite companies in the country, CB Legacy out of Albuquerque. They've got over 500 agents. She's the past president of the Women's Council of Realtors. She enjoys spending time with, now imagine this, like during COVID and whatnot, but she spends time and probably spoils the heck out of her 6 nieces and nephews. And during COVID, love this creativity. She actually successfully built a saltwater reef tank, and nothing's even died yet. So Mygatt, congratulations to you. Our next panelist, I am really proud to introduce Steve Weinrob. Steve manages one of our top offices for Coldwell Banker Realty in Florida. He has successfully purchased and rehabbed and managed numerous income properties from Philadelphia to LA to, of course, Delray Beach, Florida, where he calls home. He's owned numerous successful businesses, and he also successfully and grows and develops amazing sales agents at his office in Delray Beach. And I've seen this firsthand, but he is super involved with his family and enjoys his amazing beach lifestyle that I'm jealous of some days. So welcome, Mygatt and Steve. It is great to have you here on the Wealth Builder stage. How are you?
Hi, Chris.
Great. Hi.
Great to see you. Listen, let's just start out. Mygatt, I'd like to start with you, if you don't mind. Give us a little bit of your philosophy, if you will, about real estate investment.
Okay, of course. Good afternoon, everybody. And Chris, thank you so much for having me on. How fun is this? So I feel like my story is a little bit different than that of what you would picture for your typical real estate investor. As Chris said, I do come from a long line of real estate professionals, so I knew that investing in real estate was eventually something that I wanted to do. However, I'm not married and I don't have any kids. So I always thought, okay, I'll wait for my husband, have a little help, and then I'll buy my first investment property. The other lie that I told myself was that I was too new in the industry. A rookie like me has no business investing in real estate, doing a flipper, and being a landlord. Now, a seasoned veteran, that's somebody who invests in real estate. But about a year into my career, I realized that I totally didn't suck at this whole real estate thing. So I decided, hey, now's the time. I started saving for my down payment. I found the cutest little house and I bought it, not knowing what the heck I was getting myself into. And if I'm being honest, to this day, don't stress me out with the idea of spreadsheets, data analytics, monthly budget, and don't you dare ask me about a cap rate. I just take it day by day, situation by situation, and I trust my gut, making plenty of mistakes along the way.
Great job, Megan, and congratulations on your success. What I love about this business and the success in this business is there's no one way you have to do it. And you're a great example of that. Steve, give us a quick overview of your real estate investing philosophy, if you would, please.
Hi, Chris and Megan, and thank you, Chris, and your team for running this incredible program. Our job as managers is to help the agents make money, but nobody's ever really told them what to do once they get it. So this series is phenomenal. I'm from Philadelphia originally. I had helped a cousin with some rental properties when I was much younger, doing some work in the houses, and realized that that really wasn't what I was meant to be doing. I left Philadelphia in 2000, went out to Los Angeles and got into real estate. I got my real estate license and started in an office in Encino, California. In that office, one of the top agents kind of was a bit of a mentor to me. And he took me on the side very early on. He said, Steve, I've made millions of dollars for my clients over the years. And other than buying my own house and a house for my children, I never really invested in real estate. And it was his biggest regret throughout his whole career. So that really stuck with me. So I'll move out a little bit. My manager, who is Steve Katz, I'm going to give him a shout out, in the Studio City office, probably one of the best managers this company has seen, and a very dear friend of mine. We had a situation, one of our staff members was a little bit of a bad way, and my manager said, Steve said, why don't we buy a house and let her live in it with her family for whatever rent she could pay. And that's how we got into really investing. Our lender laid out everything for us. They did the numbers. I subscribe to the KISS method of investing. Keep it simple, stupid. I don't overthink things. While that program you showed is phenomenal, if I would try to use that program, I probably wouldn't have invested in real estate. So my philosophy now is very simple. I flipped some homes. I purchased, now pretty much I'm getting condos. But my philosophy is simple. I never invest more than I can afford to lose, and I only buy properties that I wouldn't mind living in. And it really keeps things nice and easy, and it's worked out well for me so far.
Steve, excellent. I love the idea that you only invest in properties that you would live in. That says a lot about your strategy. Also love your KISS principle. And to both of you, thank you both for sharing your real world overview of real estate investment. So this brings us to our best part of the program, favorite part of the program, the Q&A, where we get to ask the tough questions and important questions. Now remember, everybody, please just type your questions in the Q&A box on the right-hand side of your screen. Okay, Amy, go ahead and send me over some questions. I've got a couple here that have bubbled in the meantime. Steve, we'll start with you, and then we'll work our way back over to Megan. If you were just starting out today, his first question here says, what type of property would you be looking for in your very first investment property?
Well, first and foremost, one where I didn't mind losing all my money. So that would be number one. I found my first property happened to have been a single family home. I think I might have gone with a condo if I had that opportunity, again, only because I don't have to worry about the roof, about the grounds. I don't have to worry about the pool. And I'm just really worried about getting a tenant and dealing with the interior of the unit. So it's much easier, a little bit less risk in my mind. And there's always risk, but that would have been my first shot.
Makes great sense. Thank you very much, Steve. Next question I'll send over to Megan. Megan, do you recommend buying your first income property near your home, or would you recommend a property far from your home but in a hot real estate market?
With investment properties and being a landlord, there are so many surprises and urgent things that pop up, and your tenants are going to be calling you at 11 o'clock at night to switch out a smoke detector. So I actually had that happen. So I like to have properties that are near my house and easy access.
Excellent. Makes totally good sense. Megan, I'm going to stick with you on this one. Um, this is from Chicago. With the high unemployment rate and rise in evictions, is now a good time to buy a rental property?
Well, I think with the interest rates being so low, you definitely have a little bit of an increased buying power. So I think it would definitely be a good time to get into real estate investing.
Yeah, the rates are unbelievable, and I would absolutely agree with you on that thought. Okay, Steve, back to you. This question looks like it comes from my home state of Colorado. How nice. How do you best navigate real estate investment? Would it be better to go multifamily versus single family home, or possibly pre foreclosure or tax liens?
Well, pre-foreclosure and tax liens are a little bit of a fallacy I've found throughout my real estate career where you don't get anything for nothing. Houses sell for what they're worth. So when they're pre-foreclosure, they're generally not kept in great shape. It depends on what part of the business you're into. If you've done it for a while and understand how to deal with it, you can make money in almost anything. But I would keep it pretty simple and try to keep it a property that's in good shape and you could rent out easily. You know, there's
Yep.
problems with everything, but that'd be my best shot.
Yeah, no, very good plan. I want to make sure we address this question, but I'll leave you guys off the hook on this one. This is Bill from Seattle. He says, if you already have an investment property and you're adding more, should I create an LLC to protect my interests and my assets? So obviously, I'm not an attorney, neither of these guys. So my recommendation is, because you're looking at tax planning and you're looking at sort of a legal entity to hold a property in, well worth talking to an accountant or a trusted professional in that area. Okay, Megan, do you recommend looking for a fixer-upper that might offer instant equity, or buying a completed project all ready to rent?
So, with my two properties that I own right now, the very first house that I bought was move in ready. At that point, I did not have the resources, nor did I have the finances for a fixer upper or a flip. That was just something that I knew that I didn't want to pay a mortgage while I was doing those repairs. I needed to get a tenant in there immediately. The second house that I bought, while it was extremely structurally sound, it had a great a great roof, great mechanics, wonderful area. It was stuck in the 70s. So with that one, I was able to do a little bit of adjustments. I did new paint, new flooring, updated appliances, new doorknobs. So I call that one my gateway rehab, because now I think I'm ready for a full-fledged fixer-upper.
There you go. Good strategy. Okay, Steve, this is Jenny from Tampa, and she says, I don't know that I have the time to dedicate to managing a property. What is your advice on getting a property manager? I hear Property Frameworks is a good one. What are your thoughts?
Well, Property Frameworks is amazing. They're a great company, and if you get into the details, they'll handle if they interview the tenant and get the tenant in, they'll handle any evictions if that needs to if you need to go that course. But it's really you have to have a plan of action going in. If you can't manage the property, you don't have the time, there is an expense to it, but it's just the cost of running that business. So I strongly suggest it if you need it. I personally have a wife. She does all the property managing for us on our properties, which is really nice. But if you need it, it's there, and Property Frameworks is of the best I've seen.
You are a lucky guy. That's all I can tell you. That's a perfect real estate partner to have. Um, Okay, we're getting like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 questions on the spreadsheet. So where to get more information on that, you can Google it, or you can simply go to wealthbuilderexpo.com. Not right now because we haven't loaded it up there yet. I'll have it there for you by tomorrow. You can also just Google Healthy, Wealthy, Wise Project, and you'll find it. I'm sure it'll pop up, and probably many others as well. Okay, Megan, let's go to a question from Tulsa. Um, is it important in your mind? Is it important to specialize in one type of property, like condos or single family or Airbnb, or is it better to build diversity in your portfolio?
I think you should probably just become a master of one thing. Right now, I do have an attached home and I do have a single family. I personally, condos are not a big thing in Albuquerque. And so I try to stay away from them. I know that's Steve's specialty, but I try to stay away from them because of the extremely high HOAs. So I stick with the single family and it's worked for me so far.
Yeah, good. Very good input. Steve, question comes, I don't know where it's from, but it came in here and it says, why is it always important to put at least 20% down?
Well, if you're getting a loan, depending on the type of property, it may be mandatory. So you want to have equity. The whole thing comes down with me is what your numbers are. So you have to see what your rents are without 20% down. Then there's mortgage insurance premium, and there's a lot of issues. I suggest you always sit down with your lender before you make any decisions and go over all the numbers and the differences and do your comps. Make sure you know what the average rents are in the area, and it really that makes it a very simple numbers game. You'll know right away when you look them up.
It really does. And I would just add one other comment to that, Steve, and you can tell me if you agree or disagree. But I think sometimes when you put less than 20% down and you don't, two things happen. One is it's harder to cash flow on the property because you've got more debt against the property. The other thing is with the cycles of the industry, sometimes people run out of equity in the property with the dips and peaks of the market. So, in fact, 20% from my perspective is maybe the smallest amount you want to put in. You may even want to put in more. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. But each transaction and each situation is different. Each, as the market changes. But historically, over the course of time, properties go up in value. So that was if you're holding it long term. But every deal is different. But yes, as a general rule of thumb, absolutely.
Really good advice. Absolutely right. Megan, okay, so you've got a couple of properties now. It's all going well. Just share with us, what was your biggest surprise after you bought your first investment property and you became an actual landlord or investor?
So I was surprised, this sounds awful, but how needy tenants actually are. They're paying top dollar for a really good quality product and they expect things to operate properly, as they should. But I was not expecting the 11 p.m. phone calls, the last minute, I need you over here right now because I've got a water leak situation. So I do manage all my properties, and just the unexpected is something that I was not aware of getting into the industry.
Yeah, that makes good sense. Steve, take that one if you don't mind. Your biggest
Well,
surprise.
Chris, I sent you the picture of my biggest surprise. A tenant said that I owned a property in Palm Springs, which I thought was the greatest thing to own. Then I moved to Florida, and it became a difficult situation. But I got a picture of a spider that was this big and a cell phone that was only that big. And the tenant said that she didn't mind the one on the mirror, but when she saw the ones running across the floor, she was a little upset. So at 11 o'clock at night, that was a little bit of a shock. I still have that picture. I keep it. Turned out to be not a big deal. It was just a $175 exterminator to come by and get rid of the nest that was outside, and it is a desert on Palm Springs. But yeah, everything happens. Everything you can think of will go wrong at some point.
Excellent. From Madison, New Jersey, I'm going to send this out to both of you guys. Did either one of you use hard money to purchase or to rehab a property? Have you ever used hard money before?
I have not.
Yeah,
I've just saved
actually,
my money.
hey, Megan, what is hard money? Let's start because I don't think everybody may know what exactly hard money is. So what is that? Either one of you.
Oh, me? Oh,
Sure.
Steve, I'll let you take that one.
Yeah. Well, again, Chris, I'm not exactly sure. I've never used it, so I've used conventional. If it's the owner, I'm really not sure actually. Never used hard money.
Okay, no problem. That means you're both credit worthy and well established. So congratulations to both of you. So hard money is this concept, this idea of going to a private lender to get resources, to get money. Sometimes you'll use a hard lender to actually buy a property. In other cases, you'll use it to do the rehab work. That money may cost 9, 10, 11, 12% in a market today where you can get a guaranteed rate loan for like 3%. So it's really expensive, but it creates more flexibility. Oftentimes fix and flippers use it, or people that are acquiring a property, rehabbing that property, and then putting it in their long-term inventory with traditional financing. So let me switch that question then that came in. I'm just going to change it a bit to partners. Have either of you ever bought real estate with a partner? And how did that work out? Tips and tricks about that. Either one of you.
So Megan, or you or I'll take that one. Yes, I have. I've bought quite a few. I've bought with actually my friend and ex-manager Steve Katz. We've owned some properties together, quite a few, and it's great. It worked out well. I didn't mind taking over most of it. One of them is here in Florida while he's in California. So it's you have to have an agreement up front. The best thing in any type of partnership, and I'll suggest this to everybody, is have your exit strategy. Going in, everything is rosy and sounds great, but when it goes wrong, you need to have a very strong exit strategy, how you're going to end it, how you'll split things up, who else would be involved. So that is the key to any investment with a partner.
Very good. Megan, have you done a deal yet with a partner? Do you intend to? What are your thoughts on that?
I have not yet. Both of my rentals, I saved my 20%, put it down. I would consider a partner if I ever did like a full rehab or if I did a full flip. I think I would probably consider going in with somebody to share the responsibility, liability, and risk.
Watch out today. You may get a bunch of partners calling you right now, potential partners saying, hey, I want to partner with you. Okay, this will go back to Steve, and this is a little bit abstract, but let's see if we can work with this question. And this is from Philly. It says, Steve, what is a safe, realistic amount of money to get started? So maybe talk percentages, because every market is different. So what kind of percentage of a purchase price would you need to have, you think?
Well, it's not just the 20% down. There are people do that too. They try to get in as little as they can, and I've actually done less than 20%, and it's worked out for me. So I'm not completely opposed to that, but do your math. You have to prepare for vacancies. That mortgage has to be paid every month. If something can go wrong, if an air conditioner might break, it probably will. So you need to have a decent cash flow to keep the property going. So if it's 20% down, I'd want to have at least another 10% of working capital to keep moving. And it's really a vague question. It fluctuates quite a bit, but don't get caught where you put all your money into a property and then a roof needs to be repaired and you don't have it.
That's really good advice. This is a comment from Connecticut. It says, Curtis, happy birthday. Oh, really? I mean, how'd that get in here? Megan, to you from Connecticut, I am far from handy. Therefore, am I a good person to actually buy and own rental property?
Absolutely. Do you think I'm handy? No way. You just have to have a good team, and you have to have contractors. You've got to have plumbers at your fingertips that you build good relationships with, and you're able to call and say, hey, that faucet's leaking again. Can you come help me out? But no, you do not have to be handy at all.
Excellent advice. Steve, this one came in actually for you specifically. It said, would you suggest investing in 55 plus or over communities in Florida, or single family or multifamily?
Once again, every situation is different. Right now, I'm pretty much in condos that are not 55 plus. I do own one 55 plus community in my area, and it's not the same everywhere. The 55 plus communities tend to be a little bit cheaper, but your rents are a little bit lower. So it's very hard to say what works best. And again, in South Florida here, condos are king. It's very simple to rent them out. If you want to do seasonal, you do annual. So it's in my market, that's kind of the way to go. But I would stay away a little bit from the 55 plus, only in the sense that the HOAs are very difficult, and they tend to be run by 55 plus people, of which I am one. But they get a little picky, and sometimes it's a little difficult dealing with them with putting renters in.
Thank you for the candid and sage advice. We appreciate that, Steve. This question comes from San Diego. I'm going to send this over to Megan. Megan, how do you determine average rents in an area when you're trying to analyze that property purchase, like based on the purchase price? How much is the rent really going to be? What do you use for that?
So through our multiple listing service, we are able to pull history on rentals. So I
Ah,
absolutely utilize that with Coldwell Banker Legacy. We also have a property management company. Again, I build a relationship with them and I'm able to kind of pick their brain. Hey, Elisa, when the time comes and I want to purchase this property, how much do you think I'd be able to rent it out for? So I just utilize my resources and make sure that my income is not something that's going to put me in over my head and something that I can charge a rent that's going to exceed my monthly mortgage.
excellent. Steve, any comment on that one? On how to kind of estimate the average rents? Does your MLS do that as well?
Yeah, we can do it in the MLS and we find out what they are. I keep going back to every deal's different. I've had a property where we were actually going negative. It cost us about $100 to carry the property each month, but the tenant was paying pretty much most of it, and it really wasn't a problem. The property was growing equity, so it's very hard to keep saying. It's every situation is different and where you want to be, but it's very simple to pull the comps for especially what this is what we do for a living, to see what the average rents are in an area.
Okay, good advice. This one doesn't say where it's from, but this quick question to each one of you. We'll start with Megan, then go to Steve. How many properties do you currently have right now in your portfolio, if you will?
My portfolio consists of two rental properties, and I do manage both of those myself. I think once I eventually get up to probably five properties, I'm going to be in over my head. So I'll want to get a property management company in to help me out at that point.
Great, cool, congratulations, Steve. To you.
Four right now. As I mentioned, one is a 55 plus community condo. They're all condos, and I have, as I mentioned, the best property management person is I'm married to her, so she's taking care of it now. But uh, if we got more, my goal is always six. So if I did get more, we would probably get somebody to handle some of them.
Very good. Um, this is a great question here. It says, and I'll start Megan with your. This is more probably your philosophy of investment, but it's is it better to work towards paying off the property in full, or take the income and use it and to leverage to buy another property?
My goal is to retire early in life. So at that point, I do just want to get all my rentals paid off so then I have a monthly income where I don't have to hustle quite as hard.
Yeah, very good point. Well made, Steve. For you.
Uh, I keep going back to every situation is different. If you're looking to flip, that's one thing. If you're looking for income, that's a different thing. I personally, at this point, I'm looking to just get equity in my properties. I want to get them all paid off. And as Megan said, I'm a little bit past retiring early, but I'd still like to retire eventually. So I'm trying to get my equity up.
Yeah, I think that's really smart. I think it's worthy. Both of you are going the same direction, and I think that that's a really important topic and one to be really thoughtful about. And as you say, everybody's situation is unique and different. But I think one of the biggest concerns we have as an industry are when people get over leveraged, inadvertently over leveraged, and they have five or six properties, all of which they have 5 or 10% equity in. The market takes a dip. The rental market sort of vaporizes a little bit and they can't carry it forward. I can't tell you the number of stories of people I've heard, we've all heard of people who amassed five or six properties. You check back with them 5 years from then and they're like, oh, I lost them all. I got rid of them all. It was just too much work. So the sage advice is if you can, get them paid off. There's nothing more beautiful than free and clear real estate when it comes to retirement. So just keep that in mind. Okay, Megan, how do you qualify your tenants? Since you manage your own properties yourself, how do you go about qualifying tenants?
So with my two, I'm a little spoiled. One of them is actually somebody that I know, like, and trust. It was a friend who was able to move in. My other tenant, it was my very first property that I purchased. I was trying to act experienced. So when having our initial conversation, I said, just so you know, I always make sure to do a background check on any tenant that's moving into my properties. And she says, no worries. turns out that she worked for the university and for the public school system. She says UNM and Albuquerque Public Schools background check me at least once a semester, so I'm good. So at that point, she passed her background check in my book.
There you go. Now, Steve, how about you? How do you handle the qualification of your tenants?
Well, I never sell or list my own properties or rent them out. I always use an agent. It kind of takes that pressure off because it's hard when you're doing it yourself. But always do a credit check. Always do a background check. And I don't screw around with evictions anymore. Luckily, I haven't had a lot, but the first time I had a story went on about 6 months. Now it's if within that first month rent's not paid, I move to the next step. So I'm very, very particular about how we handle our tenants.
You bring a professional in for all your eviction work, which I cannot recommend. That is the best decision. Absolutely. Okay, this is a good question, Megan. Back to you. Looking to purchase my first home, fix it while I live in it, and then move out and start renting it within the first 12 months. What are your thoughts on this strategy?
Oh, I think it's a great strategy. If you have the opportunity, that way you're at least able to pay your monthly mortgage. The very first house that I bought, my very first rental that I purchased, I did not have the means to do a total fixer upper. So I did buy something that was move-in ready. So if you can buy something for a really good cost, fix it up, and then get even more revenue, absolutely go for it.
Excellent. Steve, next question has to do with the actual lease document. It says, do I need an attorney to create a lease contract, or can you find a standard lease online? What do you do?
Well, a lease can be drawn on a napkin. So I tell my agents that, but we have attorneys that we can draw up the leases for us. But a standard lease would work also. They're pretty much, if it's done by the state, they're pretty much cover mostly everything. Landlord-tenant laws are definitely geared towards the tenant, so you have to be careful. Any really standardized lease works. We happen, because we're in the business, we all have access to companies that'll draw up the leases for us.
Thank you very much. Megan, for you, how important is a good lease?
It is extremely, extremely important. And I actually learned that the hard way. I had a friend move into one of my rentals. I thought, I don't need a lease, no problem at all. As soon as coronavirus hit, he was a car salesman and he got furloughed, and I had no lease agreement in place whatsoever. Luckily, he was able to find work. But then at that point, I was like, oh my goodness, I should have had a lease in place, just because it protects me and it protects the tenant too. It just spells it out in black and white, so there are no surprises. So really, really important to have a lease in place. I learned the hard way.
Oh, excellent advice. Steve, this question just came in. It says, is it true you can purchase investment real estate without any money down?
Well, there used to be. In fact, when I first started in Philadelphia, we were buying homes for $10,000, writing it up for 14, getting money back at the closing. Found out later that's illegal and you're frauding the lender. Yes, there are situations and there are 100% loans and things. I don't really suggest it to not have any equity in a property. And more often than not, if you're doing 100% financing, your numbers are probably not going to work with your rentals. You won't be positive.
Boy, sage advice. I've told people for many, many years, if you're wondering about buying real estate with no money down, ask yourself why you're asking that question, right? Like, what is it that's preventing you from getting a little skin in the game, having a little bit of reserve and equity? What we want to do is we want to create success stories in real estate investment. We don't want to create horror stories. So that has to do with the leases that you get. It has to do with how you buy the property. It has to do with how you finance the property. There are a lot of elements around that are really worth taking the extra time. Okay, we're running very near the end. I wanted to, first of all, thank both of you for your sage advice, your great ideas, willing to share those ideas with all of us. If there was one more word of advice that you would offer us, it maybe didn't come up during the Q&A, what would that be? Megan, you first.
My advice is that everything is figure outable, meaning that if you have one bit of desire to own a rental property, do it, and you can figure it out along the way. Just go for it.
Great advice. Steve, for you, what's that one piece you want to make sure it gets across?
Well, I'll give you two quick pieces. I'll keep my KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't overthink things.
Yeah.
And as Wayne Gretzky said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Don't overthink it. Just do it. If you can always second guess it till the end of time. Just take the shot and get it. And if you do the numbers right, you can always sell it.
Steve, you're right. And so many people do that. They sit on the sidelines while other people make things happen. This is an area that all of us on this call should really get behind, figure out a solution, how we're going to do it, and then take action. Hey, listen, a massive, huge Coldwell Banker GRA Wealth Builder thank you to both of you. Megan, Steve, you guys are amazing. Appreciate your candor, your sage advice, and your time today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Megan.
Now, before we wrap up today, I'd like to share a strategy as you embark on your journey to wealth building. A way to maybe put some additional down payment in your pocket. So here's an example, right? At CBR, Coldwell Banker Realty, we call it Rewards, and it's offered to all of our 48,000 agents. Now, Rewards is designed to provide you with reoccurring secondary income stream. That's right, mailbox money. Income for years to come, just by doing what you do anyway. Telling your real estate friends and co-oping agents about our amazing company and how they can actually make more money by affiliating with us. And hey, big news. In addition to referring top agents, there are big incentives when you refer your favorite loan officers or mortgage professionals to our amazing partners at Guaranteed Rate Affinity. Simply submit your referrals to cbrealtyrewards.com. We'll pop it over in the chat there, cbrealtyrewards.com. And go to the link, you'll get all kinds of cool information there. When your friend joins Coldwell Banker Realty Company anywhere in the country, you'll earn an equal to 2% of their GCI for the first 2 years, and then 1% for as long as you and the friend both work for the company. That could be decades of income. In fact, we have agents today that earn $50,000, $60,000, even $70,000 a year just from rewards, just by making one call. Again, check with your manager and be sure that your office participates in this crazy cool program. It is so easy and it's so powerful. And it's our way of saying thank you for doing what you do anyway, helping your friends discover what it means to truly live an exceptional life at Coldwell Banker. As a cornerstone of our Core 4, Coaching to Confidence, Wendy Crane continues to lead us every month in our highly acclaimed monthly education expos. Be sure to tune in on the first Thursday of each month. Our next education expo is coming up September the 3rd at 2 p.m. Now, get ready. The next Wealth Builder Expo on September the 17th will feature the biggest name in personal money management, Dave Ramsey. Yes, the Dave Ramsey. More details will come as we get closer to Coldwell Banker's Gen Blue experience, so stay tuned. And then on October the 15th, we are back into the world of real estate investment. Join us as we feature the skills and talent of nationally known fix and flip personality, Mark Ferguson. Oh gosh, Mark has written best-selling books. He's been featured on podcasts, TV shows, and in October, he's yours. Live on the Wealth Builder stage. That's October the 15th. And finally, I want to thank our partners and our good friends at GRA. Guaranteed Rate Affinity is not only an incredible real estate services partner, but also now presenting our Wealth Builder series. This will allow us to enhance the content and presenters. And for this, we are so grateful. Welcome aboard, GRA. Well, I think it's a wrap for today's session. As a reminder, the recording of today's program and the deck, all the information can be found at wealthbuilderexpo.com. Until then, I'm Chris Mygatt, encouraging you to stay focused, disciplined, and committed to ensuring that your best financial years are just around the corner. We look so forward to seeing you in September as we introduce Dave Ramsey to the stage. And do me a huge favor. Take a second. You're going to get a link. Fill out the survey. We want these to be the best they can be. And the only way we can do that is when we hear from you. Check the Q&A on the right-hand side. Click the link, or you'll be receiving one. We'll see you in September.